The invitation arrived in an envelope thick enough to feel expensive. Not a text, not an email, a real card, embossed in silver. Hartwell corporate dinner, private event. My younger brother, Shane, held it between two fingers like it was a trophy. He didn't hand it to me kindly. He tossed it onto the kitchen counter and smirked. "Dad says you should come," he said. "It'll be educational." My mother looked up from her coffee with a tight smile. "Maybe it's time you saw what real success looks like." I didn't reply. I had learned a long time ago that answering them only gave them more room to twist the knife. My father leaned back in his chair, folding his arms. "You've been floating around for years," he said. "No direction, no achievement, just existing." Shane chuckled. "Don't worry," he added. "They won't expect much from you." That was how it always went. In this family, Shane was the golden one. The future, the heir, and I was the cautionary tale. The one they referenced when they wanted to scare cousins into studying harder. The one they laughed about at holidays. The one they quietly resented because I refused to beg. But what they didn't understand was simple. I had stopped fighting for their approval years ago. Not because I gave up. Because I chose a different battlefield. I looked down at the card. "Fine," I said. My mother blinked. My father raised a brow. Shane's smile widened. "Oh, this is going to be fun." The night of the dinner, the venue was exactly what you'd expect from a company like Hartwell. A skyscraper downtown, lights spilling out like money didn't matter. Valets in crisp uniforms, security at the entrance. Inside, marble floors and chandeliers that looked like frozen waterfalls. Shane walked ahead of me like I was his unwanted guest. My parents followed beside him, proud as if they owned the building. At the entrance, a hostess checked names. "Shane Mitchell," he announced loudly. She smiled instantly. "Of course. Welcome." Then her eyes flicked to me. And Shane didn't even let me answer. "This is my sibling," he said, voice dripping with amusement. "Just here." The hostess hesitated, then nodded politely. I stepped forward calmly. My name was on the list. Of course it was. I had made sure of that. But I didn't say anything. Not yet. The dining hall opened like a stage. Round tables dressed in black linen. Crystal glasses. Gold cutlery. Executives in tailored suits, laughing too loudly. A live quartet played near the back. Shane turned to me with a grin. "Try not to embarrass us," he whispered. My mother sighed dramatically. "I still don't know why you insisted on wearing something so plain." I glanced down at my outfit. Simple, professional, clean, not flashy. Because I wasn't here to impress strangers. I was here to watch. My father spotted someone across the room. His face brightened. "There's Mr. Hartwell," he said, voice suddenly respectful. "Come on." Shane straightened instantly. He practically glowed. We approached a tall man with silver hair and the kind of presence that made people stand taller without realizing. Around him were board members, investors, people who spoke in percentages and power. My father extended his hand. "Sir, what an honor." Mr. Hartwell shook it politely. Then Shane stepped forward. "I'm Shane Mitchell," he said smoothly. "Junior development lead, future director, hopefully." One of the executives chuckled. Ambition always amused them when it came packaged in confidence. Mr. Hartwell nodded. "Mitchell," he repeated. "Yes, I know." Shane's chest puffed. Then Shane turned slightly, like remembering something inconvenient. "And this," he gestured toward me, voice rising. "This is my sibling." His grin sharpened. "The failure of our family." The words landed like a slap. Conversations nearby slowed. A couple of heads turned. My mother didn't correct him. My father didn't flinch. They just stood there, silent, as if Shane had spoken a truth everyone already knew. Shane laughed softly. "Yeah," he continued, louder now. "While I've been building my career, some people just drift." A board member raised an eyebrow. Mr. Hartwell's expression didn't change. But his eyes stayed on me. Watching. Shane kept going, feeding on the attention. "You know, it's almost impressive. Years of doing nothing, and still acting like it's a choice." My mother finally spoke. "We've tried, really. We've tried to help." My father sighed. "They always had potential. Wasted potential." I looked at each of them. My brother, my mother, my father, all so comfortable tearing me down in front of strangers. All so sure I had no power here. Shane leaned closer, voice dripping with satisfaction. "Smile," he whispered. "At least pretend you belong." I did smile, not because it hurt less. Because I knew something they didn't. Across the room, a few executives were beginning to pay attention. Not to Shane's insults, to my calm. It was strange, really. People expected humiliation to look messy. They expected anger, tears, begging, but silence? Control? That made them nervous. Shane noticed the shift and lifted his glass. To family, he announced loudly. To success. A few polite claps echoed. Then Shane turned toward Mr. Hartwell again. Sir, I'd love to discuss my future here. I'm ready for bigger responsibilities. Mr. Hartwell didn't answer immediately. Instead, his gaze returned to me. Steady, measuring. Then he said something that made Shane's smile falter. Interesting. Shane blinked. I'm sorry? Mr. Hartwell tilted his head slightly. Your sibling, he said slowly. You call them a failure. Shane laughed nervously. It's just family humor. My mother forced a chuckle. Mr. Hartwell didn't chuckle back. He looked away, scanning the room. Then he set his glass down. And in the middle of the corporate dinner, he pushed his chair back. The scraping sound was sharp. Conversation stopped. People turned. Executives froze. Shane's face lit up with excitement. He thought this was it. The moment Mr. Hartwell would praise him, promote him, reward him. My father's eyes gleamed. My mother straightened. Shane whispered under his breath. This is my moment. Mr. Hartwell stood fully. Then he looked around the room, voice calm but carrying. Ladies and gentlemen, he said. The entire hall went silent. Shane's grin stretched wide. Mr. Hartwell's eyes locked onto mine again. And then he said words that would change everything. But not in the way Shane imagined. Mr. Hartwell's voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. Silence does half the work when power speaks. Ladies and gentlemen, he repeated, scanning the room slowly, I want to address something I just heard at this table. Shane's smile twitched. My father's posture stiffened with pride, like he expected applause. My mother clasped her hands together, already imagining the story she'd tell later. Mr. Hartwell turned slightly toward Shane. You introduced your sibling as the failure of your family. A nervous laugh escaped Shane. Oh, sir, it's just a joke. Family stuff. Mr. Hartwell didn't laugh. He looked at Shane as if examining a crack in glass. Jokes reveal character, he said calmly. The room stayed quiet. Executives leaned subtly closer. People love success stories, but they love downfall stories more. Shane's throat bobbed. I didn't mean. Mr. Hartwell raised one hand. Then he shifted his gaze to me. And you, he said softly, you didn't react at all. I held his eyes. I'm used to it, I replied. That simple sentence landed harder than any speech. A few people murmured. My mother's face tightened instantly. My father cleared his throat as if to regain control. Mr. Hartwell nodded slowly. Used to it, he repeated, almost to himself. Then he looked back at the room. I've built this company on one principle, he said. Competence over arrogance. Shane's smile faded. My father's eyes widened. Mr. Hartwell continued, voice still even. And arrogance, he said, often hides behind people who believe their titles make them superior. Shane forced a chuckle. I'm not arrogant, sir. I'm dedicated. Mr. Hartwell finally turned fully toward him. Dedicated, he echoed. To what? To humiliating your own blood in public? Shane's face flushed. My mother stepped forward quickly. Mr. Hartwell, please, he's under pressure. He's young. Mr. Hartwell's eyes flicked to her. And you, he said, not unkindly, you sat there and let it happen. My mother froze. My father's voice rose, defensive. With respect, sir, this is a private family matter. Mr. Hartwell's expression cooled. It became public the moment you made it entertainment. Shane swallowed hard. The air felt heavier now. The dinner hadn't changed. The chandeliers still glittered. The music still played softly somewhere. But the mood had turned. Shane's world was tilting. Mr. Hartwell looked at the executives around him. Do you know why I stood up? He asked. No one answered. He pointed gently toward me. Because the person you just mocked, he paused, letting the tension sharpen, is the reason Hartwell Industries still exists. The silence cracked. Shane blinked rapidly. What? My father's mouth fell open. My mother's lips parted but no sound came out. Mr. Hartwell didn't rush. He let them feel it. Then he said clearly, 5 years ago, when our expansion nearly collapsed, when our overseas division hemorrhaged millions. He gestured slightly. This individual was the consultant who designed the recovery model. Shane's face drained. That's impossible. Mr. Hartwell's gaze hardened. It's documented. Executives around the room began whispering. One murmured, that model saved us. Another nodded. I remember. Shane's breath turned shallow. My father stammered. You work here? I finally spoke calmly. I don't work here, I said. Shane snapped, desperate. Then what are you? Mr. Hartwell answered before I could. They're the person I call when everyone else fails. The words hit like a hammer. Shane staggered slightly. My mother whispered. No. Mr. Hartwell continued, voice steady. You see, competence is quiet. It doesn't need stage speeches. His eyes flicked toward Shane. It doesn't need humiliation to feel tall. Shane's voice cracked. Sir, I didn't know. That's the point, Mr. Hartwell said sharply. You didn't know because you never cared to know. My father's face was pale. My mother looked like she might faint. Shane tried to smile again, desperate damage control. This is great. I mean, wow, family talent, right? His laugh was weak. Mr. Hartwell's eyes didn't soften. No, he said, this is tragic. The word hung. Tragic. Not inspiring. Not amusing. Tragic. Shane's throat worked. Mr. Hartwell leaned slightly closer. You want bigger responsibilities? He asked. Shane nodded quickly. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Mr. Hartwell nodded. Good. Shane's eyes brightened for half a second. Then Mr. Hartwell delivered the sentence that shattered him completely. Your bigger responsibility begins with packing your desk. The room went dead. Shane froze. My father's voice cracked. Excuse me? My mother gasped. Shane laughed nervously. Sir, I think you mean? I mean exactly what I said, Mr. Hartwell replied. You are terminated. Shane's face turned gray. Terminated? For a joke? Mr. Hartwell's voice was ice. For cruelty. For arrogance. For representing this company with disrespect. Executives nodded subtly. No one defended Shane. My mother's voice trembled. Mr. Hartwell, please, he's our son. Mr. Hartwell's gaze didn't move. And that, he said quietly, is why he thinks consequences don't apply. Shane's eyes flicked to me, panic now. Say something, he whispered. I looked at him calmly. He wanted me to save him. The same brother who had called me the family failure. I spoke softly. You made your moment, I said. His lips trembled. Please. Mr. Hartwell turned back to the room, voice firm. This dinner, he said, is about integrity. Not entitlement. Then his gaze returned to me. I apologize, he said quietly. I nodded once. That's enough. My father's voice shook. What are you, then? I finally let the truth sit between us. I'm not your failure, I said softly. I'm just not your audience anymore. Shane's breathing was ragged. He looked around. Everyone was watching him now. Not admiring, judging. The humiliation he planned for me had reversed. My mother whispered. We didn't know. I met her eyes. You didn't want to. Mr. Hartwell stepped back. Security approached politely, waiting for instruction. Shane's voice cracked again. I can fix this. Mr. Hartwell's answer was simple. No. Shane's shoulders collapsed. And for the first time, he looked small. Not because I made him small. Because he had built himself on my silence. Mr. Hartwell gestured toward the exit. Please escort Mr. Mitchell out. Security moved. My father stepped forward in panic. This is insane. This is our family. Mr. Hartwell's eyes hardened. Then perhaps you should have treated them like family. Shane was led away, stumbling, whispering my name. My mother stood frozen. My father looked destroyed. And I remained calm. Because the corporate dinner wasn't my revenge. It was just the mirror. And they finally saw themselves. Shane's shoes barely made it past the ballroom doors before the whispers erupted like a delayed explosion. Executives leaned together, murmuring names and memories. Board members avoided my family's eyes. My mother stood rigid, as if her spine was the only thing keeping her from collapsing. My father's face looked carved from panic, the kind of panic that comes when your worldview shatters in public and you can't glue it back together with authority. The corporate dinner resumed, but nothing felt the same. Plates arrived untouched. Glasses clinked with forced normalcy. People smiled too widely, speaking too softly, pretending they hadn't just witnessed a man get erased in real time. Mr. Hartwell turned to me, his voice low now, no longer meant for the room. I'm sorry you had to endure that. I nodded once. I didn't come for sympathy. I know, he said. That's why I respect you. My mother flinched at the word respect like it was foreign. My father swallowed hard, then stepped forward as if he could still salvage something by sheer will. Sir, he began, voice tight, this is a misunderstanding. Our family. Mr. Hartwell's gaze sharpened. Your family, he interrupted calmly, just demonstrated exactly what the problem is. My father's mouth opened, closed. My mother whispered, we didn't know. I looked at her. You didn't ask, I said softly. The simplicity of it was brutal. My mother's eyes filled. We thought you were drifting. I almost laughed, not from humor, but from disbelief. Drifting, I repeated, while I was rebuilding companies from the inside. My father's voice cracked. Why didn't you tell us? I met his gaze. Because you only listen when the world is watching. Silence. They knew it was true. Mr. Hartwell gestured toward a quieter corridor off the main hall. "Walk with me," he said to me. I followed without hesitation. Behind us, my parents trailed like people suddenly unsure of their place in my orbit. In the corridor, away from the chandeliers and staged laughter, Mr. Hartwell stopped. He looked at me with something close to admiration. "You never asked for credit," he said. I shrugged slightly. "Credit attracts noise. And yet," he continued, "you deserve more than silence." My mother stepped forward abruptly, trembling. "Please," she whispered, "just come home. Let's talk. We can fix this." Fix. That word again. As if humiliation was a crack in a vase instead of a fracture in character. I turned slowly toward her. "Home," I said softly, "was the place I learned to be small." My father's face twisted. "We didn't mean." "You did," I cut in gently. "Maybe not intentionally, but consistently." My mother sobbed. Mr. Hartwell watched them for a moment, then spoke quietly. "There's something else you should know," he said. My father straightened slightly, hopeful again. "Desperate people cling to crumbs." Mr. Hartwell's voice remained calm. "Your sibling isn't simply a consultant we hire." My stomach tightened, not from fear, but from knowing what came next. Mr. Hartwell continued. "They're the majority stakeholder in the private fund that backs Hartwell's next expansion." My father froze. My mother's sob caught mid-breath. The words didn't just land. They detonated. My father whispered, "Stakeholder?" Mr. Hartwell nodded once. "When you mocked them," he said, "you mocked the person who helped keep this company alive." My mother's knees looked weak. My father's voice shook. What does that mean?" I answered calmly. "It means I don't need this dinner." They stared at me. "It means," I continued, "I didn't come here to prove anything." My mother whispered, "Then why did you come?" I held her gaze. "Because Shane wanted an audience." Silence. "And I wanted closure." My father's pride twitched, trying to stand up again. "So you did this to punish him?" I shook my head. "No," I said softly. "He did it to himself." Mr. Hartwell's expression hardened. "Your son will be escorted from the building and his access revoked. He will not work in corporate leadership again under my name." My father's breath hitched. My mother whispered, "Please, he's young." Mr. Hartwell's reply was simple. "So was your other child when you taught them what cruelty feels like." That shut the corridor down completely. My mother's tears fell faster now. My father's voice broke. "What do you want from us?" The question was raw, unmasked, not a demand, a plea. I considered it. For a long moment, I considered it. Then I spoke with quiet finality. "I want you to stop seeing me as a lesson." My mother looked up. I continued. "Stop seeing me as the failure that makes Shane look brighter." My father's shoulders sagged. "I want you," I said, "to understand that I didn't become valuable tonight." My voice lowered. "I was always valuable. You just didn't care until it embarrassed you." My mother whispered, "We were wrong." I nodded. "Yes." My father stepped closer, voice shaking. "Can you forgive us?" Forgiveness. The word people reach for when consequences finally arrive. I breathed in slowly. "I don't know," I said honestly. Silence. Then I added, "But I know this." They leaned in, desperate. "I'm done shrinking." My mother sobbed. My father's eyes glistened. Behind the corridor doors, the corporate dinner kept moving like nothing had happened, because the world always keeps moving. But for my family, time had stopped. Because the story they told about me for years had just been rewritten in front of everyone who mattered to them. Mr. Hartwell turned toward me. "Are you staying?" I shook my head. "No." I began walking away. My mother's voice cracked behind me. "Wait, please." I paused for half a second. Not to obey, to end it cleanly. Then I said softly, without turning, "You wanted me to be the family failure." I took another step. "Tonight, you learned I was never yours to define." And I left. Outside, the city lights were cold and bright. The air was crisp. My car waited. As I slid into the backseat, my phone buzzed once. A message from Shane. Just 3 words. "I'm sorry. Please." I stared at it. Then I deleted it. Not out of cruelty. Out of completion. Because the greatest revenge wasn't humiliation. It was freedom. And for the first time in my life, I felt like the room was finally silent enough for me to hear myself.